remains the same at 7 convenient locations throughout Westfield.
Underwriting support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Greater Westfield Chamber of Commerce, the voice of business for the Greater Westfield communities. Informing, educating, advocating, the Chamber provides opportunities for members to make meaningful connections on local, regional, and state levels. For more information on the Chamber's many events, workshops, and programs, as well as the benefits of membership, visit westfieldbiz.org. The Chamber focuses on the most important economy, yours.
Join us every Thursday morning
from 6 until at least 7:30.
Check out the Bobby G and Company Show
right here on WSKB 89.5
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, good morning. Are you there? Can you hear me? You there? Yeah? I don't hear nothing. Anyways, do you hear me? Wonderful. It's all that matters, right?
I don't know if I'm going to want it.
You're fine, Mr. Perrone. You're fine. Good morning, everyone. I'm here with Mr. Perrone, chairman of the Select Board. How you doing, kiddo?
Not too bad, all things considered.
Yeah.
How are you?
We're good.
Getting ready for your next trip down south? You're not going to do it?
Which trip?
I thought you said you were going to go down.
We were trying to go for North Carolina.
Yeah.
I couldn't get the funding in place, so we're shipping some stuff over. We'll do it that way. It's sad, but Amazon makes it so simple.
It
does.
You went down there twice, and you did. You do a great job with the Civic Fund.
Yeah, we do okay.
And kudos to you. I've said all the time. I say to my wife and people that I talk to, I said, I wish I could do something like that. It's especially as you get later in my career, and you're getting close to that.
I guess
window, that light's getting brighter.
Yeah,
I'm not quite as old as you yet, but
no, but I think my career's always been doing stuff, so I don't try to morph it into my career.
Yeah,
but we have different paths.
I won't sit still.
You work for someone and have to run a time clock and take certain times off, and I'm fortunate enough to not to live in that world.
Yep.
Depending on who you talk to, I don't think I ever work. So, and that's good too. That shows that.
I've heard that myself.
Yeah, I'm sure, right? It's your Saturday off. What do you mean you're not working today? Here's your list.
Yeah.
No. It's my time. No, you don't get time.
I can honestly say I'm in a good situation with whom I'm with now.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I'm not going to denigrate my past life, but
Well, that's when I would cue you to just shut up because you seem to talk too much and end up burying yourself accidentally.
I had people tell me, "Are you nuts going on Joe's show?"
Oh, it's all good.
I said, "It's just Joe." Mm-hmm. I said, "You know what?
What am I going to do? Bust you about the last 27 things you did? Sure, but
I was going to say I don't need you to make me look bad.
You do it by yourself. You do a really good job most of the time.
Yeah.
And you're getting better though. You really are. You're kind of growing into it. It's not easy.
It's being the chair. That.
How is that?
It's a lot more than it seems.
Everything is everything.
Yeah,
Being
like
a police officer is a lot more than it seems.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It's what you make of it, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I've had a great 28 years. I've got 5, 6 left. I can retire in a year and a half, but I'm not going to.
No.
I've got a great. We've had good chiefs. The chief we got now is great. He's a great chief.
I think they've all been great on whether it's Southwick or Westfield, but they all have their own deals. Everyone's just a little different. So I can look back at Riccardi, who was before Riccardi there.
Bomber, right?
No, in between there was Krenicki, right?
Mm-hmm.
So every one of them,
Everybody's got
is different.
their area. Some people are more people. Some people are more, standard, that tight protocol. Like I talked about the other night. That's not the type of guy I am. I try to let, that's the one thing, like you said, how's that being a chairman? You and I have talked a couple times after meetings. And
it's all good. Yeah.
And a couple meetings ago, you can't, there's a protocol. I get yelled at by my wife because she's like, "Why do you let people talk?" I said,
I'm going to touch this just so we understand each other. You come up with all the protocols you want. If I got something to say, I'm going to say it. And it's probably not right half the time.
Did I not?
Yeah.
I never text anybody during the meeting, but
it's all good.
Not
I don't
that you care anyway.
I'm a little different. If I don't like what I see,
you're going to say it.
Just watch my hands. First, my hands start going. Then I start scratching my hair, but you can't do that. I get it. And then from
I
there,
can see it in your eyes.
Oh yeah, I'm sure you do.
I look at you.
That's why I sit in front now.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, just so we can, what are you doing?
Oh,
but it's all good. At the end of the day, you guys got to do your best you can do.
You know what? Too many people. We talked about this last time. Make this stuff personal, and it's not.
No, it's not.
It's
personal that you want to keep your town running. It's personal that you do care about your tax base, your senior citizens, your young families that can't afford to live in Southwick.
No.
I couldn't, if my shop wasn't where I live, I couldn't afford Southwick.
It's like I am so glad that the assessed values have kind of slowed down.
Looks that way, yeah.
I looked at the stuff that we got from accounting and Nicole, and I was reading in the paper and stuff like that about the article that Cliff put in with Nicole, and it's nice to see that 2.4%. That puts us under that window, but still we got numbers to play with. We haven't got our cherry sheet yet.
Yeah.
I know the first thing you're thinking, and I get it. The first thing you're thinking when we start talking about stuff is cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching.
Well, but the problem is, and it is a cha-ching, cha-ching.
Absolutely.
And it's no one being mean-spirited.
Absolutely not.
It's, as you learn as chairman, everything just gets thrown in your lap every week. And, there's no pros and cons to anything. It's what's what's in front of you at the time.
Yep.
And everyone could have the greatest intentions. At the end of the day, they all do, whether it's me, whether it's you.
Yeah.
We voice it differently.
Yep.
And it's just, without being an ass, I would say you would have to, I would love to see any selectman do it a year or two on the finance committee. Because you learn so much more about numbers.
Hey, I came in green. You had planning boards. You had, before you made selectmen. Like I said, I came in green. So every day's a learning experience with me, especially as chair. You don't see it. I now I know why Doug's got that shirt that says, I haven't seen it yet. I'm just the clerk.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of extra time tied up in getting
There
that
is.
agenda set, coming in, talking, especially, the transition from Carl to Nicole, that's a whole different,
Oh, it is.
it's
a different puzzle.
environment. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
it definitely is.
And that's the thing that you guys were lucky.
Lucky.
not
Come
that-
on.
Nicole's great, and she knows some of the more structured stuff than I do because she's done it in Hardwick.
Yeah.
But, Carl, one thing I lucked out that first year is,
Oh, you did. We all did.
Russ looks at Carl, and Carl's like, "You need to do this."
Right.
So that's why, like, a couple times I've been like with the continuance for that parking hearing, I'm like, I know I should continue this, but I'm like, am I 100% sure on this? And
Yeah.
Mr. Moglen, again, he's got how many years does he between planning board and this?
Probably
20
at least. Yeah.
I don't know how he does it, and I see him. I work midnights, and you look at Facebook and see what's going on. He's on at 2, 3 in the morning
Yeah.
trying to do his regular job.
Yeah.
And I see him a lot of stuff, and that's what I remember at the first meeting for the new select members I went to. One of the things the lady said is, you just got to say no to some of these events sometimes.
Yeah.
Especially in a position that it's not you're trying to juggle life and
Yeah.
a full-time job and other things.
Yeah.
So it's been interesting. It's been very rewarding. There's been a couple times I've wanted to scream out loud or shake people.
Yeah.
But, I just, at the end of the day, take that deep breath and say, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully you still get up in the morning and life goes on.
That's,
So
you can always,
Yeah.
that's the one thing I say to everybody. You look at everything that's going on in the world. Prime example, look at the people in North Carolina that you've been helping
Yeah.
out. Living in tents. They woke up one morning and everything was gone,
oh, you're not kidding. Yeah.
And,
yeah. Life changed overnight.
including people's lives
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So every day you get up
Well,
you
I-
can make a difference
I
for
laughed.
yourself or
Yeah.
somebody else.
When we did some of that, when we stayed those extra few days, I think I posted on my personal page something about, I can't wait to get back to Southwick. Guys, we're helping people with nothing. I'm going to hear about speed bumps in the center of town and another goddamn box store going somewhere, whether it is or isn't, whether, zoning is zoning. But we all understand
We
that.
could talk about that's
Right,
what I
but over
about.
here is
Yeah.
this family that has nothing.
Exactly.
Nothing. And they're not worried about speed bumps in Southwick, Mass tomorrow morning. But
They're
we
worried
are.
about groceries and eating.
Yeah, literally. So, and you're right. Everything's got a perspective to it. You got to get there personally to figure things out in your own life before you can worry about figuring everyone else's problems out.
Be
So-
thankful that you can actually complain about stuff like
See,
that.
I can't even hear him.
You can't hear? Pete said, "Be thankful that you can actually are here
There
to
we
be able
go.
to complain."
Now I can hear you guys.
Be
All right.
thankful that you can complain about things like that, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, no doubt about it.
Yeah, that's why you see some of the stuff that, like, prime example, Dollar General. Let's talk about that. You brought it
So
up.
that's the one that didn't, and so go ahead, you go first before I rant.
And I'm not going to sit here and judge anybody else.
Oh, no, absolutely
But
not.
when that decision was made, I knew we were in trouble.
Yeah, absolutely.
The one thing I've seen is there's a lot of philosophical differences here in town, and as to how things should be and what should be. And I'm one of those guys. I joke. I would say if I were to register something, I'm a Republican, but I was raised a Democrat, and I'm a Republican, conservative, but I've always got one foot over because until recently, with the way the partisan crap has gone.
Yeah.
There was still some back and forth. What do they call them? The Kennedy Democrats. They were more.
Oh, my mother is one, and I hate to say, Mom, sorry about the hate mail, Mom, but I don't think
I'm not even
I don't
gonna
think she
go there
watches
with my
the show.
mom.
No, but it's okay. I think I must have been screaming into that mic, because now that I'm actually can hear. Oof.
No, it wasn't. It
wasn't bad?
unless it's louder in there.
So she held a campaign sign, I think my first year I ran, not a Republican, right? And it's fine. And she flew in. She held a sign, mumbling all the way, which is fine. I mean, so, she did it for her son, not so much what he believed in. And I can remember when I first ran, I'll just say I have a relative, I won't say their name, and they were so hung up that if I was a Republican, that I was a Republican through and through with everything else they stood for. And I'm like, what are you talking about? T.J. Welch came to me a million years ago middle of the night, hey kid.
Is that when you told me? You said you got to pick one or the other.
You got to pick a side. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, in the town of Southwick, if you're a Democrat, it brings. This is hypothetically, it brought 300 votes. If you're a Republican, it brought 300 votes. If you were unenrolled,
that's what everybody told me. You're not. You're not enrolled. I said.
It's all good, but just
you were the Republican. You know, you would have been, and that's the way I lean.
Yeah,
but I'm not.
No,
I'm not philosophically aligned with with some of the Democrat things.
Do you have to be though? So that's a whole nother piece of
you
that
don't.
pie. Is
that's the thing. You shouldn't have to be. Look at prime example. Seth Moulton, that senator from state rep from Salem.
Yeah.
There's all this brouhaha about transgender, all the other stuff. All the man said his opinion, and he's being chastised by his own party.
Yeah.
And he said we should be able to have differences of opinions even amongst our own groups,
right,
and be able to discuss it, and not it's just gotten mean and ugly and nasty.
No, that happens quickly, unfortunately, on anything nowadays.
That's when I said everybody said, you and I have talked. You always joke about your fans and your non-fans.
Oh,
and
it's okay.
And I said, I don't care if you run again or Mr. Kane or anybody decides to run.
You, me, Kane. I just seen a little LeBombard all of a sudden, appearing on social media with, the Lord's answers that you got to vote come election time.
Yeah,
So my answer to that was, hey, Junior, make sure you fill your paperwork out ahead of time so you can actually be on the ballot before you start to vote. And it's all good. And I like David, but it is what it is.
I've known Butch.
I don't think he's going to run if you're running. I mean, the chess game is unbelievable of antics. That is all hearsay.
It's exactly, and until we all pull our papers or don't, nobody's going to,
I think I'm just going to pull papers just to aggravate people.
It will.
That's what I'm saying. Literally.
It won't aggravate me.
No. I don't even have to fill them out, but oh my God, Deedy pull papers,
Yeah. It's silly, and I still hear it. But, like I said, I get, I've been scolded by my wife because I said, you just said it best. Joe is Joe. Joe's going to say what Joe wants. And here's the thing. The Supreme Courts in SJC here in Massachusetts, they just recently, there was a town where they were being called Nazis. Oh. Everybody has the right. You can't stop them.
You can't, no.
And I'm not going to, you can't drag they have that First Amendment right of speech. And that's as a government agent, as a police officer, and when I was in the service, I raised my hand because I believe in that Constitution.
Right.
And, you have rights,
Yep.
And I'm going to give you those rights. That's why, like I said at the meeting, I finally, like you said, I've come into my own.
I don't think you're coming into your own, but you're doing a good job. That's.
Well, I appreciate it.
Because you never come into your own until after you leave. Then you go, I could have done this better.
Well, I do that when I walk out of some of the meetings. And usually you might tell me anyway, so. Hey, but
it's all good. It is.
And I appreciate, as much as people sit here and think there needs to be this sides and whatever, I reached out to you when I've reached out to you because I want you've done it. You've been there for 9 years. You were on the planning board, and you do what you've dealt with things that I haven't.
But you got to remember one thing. At the end of the day, I didn't want to do any of this. I got on the planning board because they told me no about building an ice cream shop, a farm. You know what I mean? So you had to fight. So my whole life's been fighting. Every morning I get up, I got to fight, and it's all good. No regrets, none.
Yeah.
But it's not like I don't think I was on a town meeting member in West Springfield for 1,000,000 years. Back then, you had your selectmen.
Elected representatives
for each part of town.
Yep.
So people had to show up for town meeting, not like we have, right?
Yep.
I think it was 15 from each district.
Yep.
And the only reason I did that then was
Same thing.
Bought a commercial piece of property, Ashley Ave, down by UPS. So it's 6 a.m. I got 300 brown trucks going by me.
Yep.
I want a clean car. So you can't do that. What? It's industrial zoned. Oh, but you don't own 10,000 acres. I'm like, oh, come on with these rules. And whatever it was, I'm me. And I had a gentleman at the end of the street that absolutely hated industrial, just anything. And I get it. In his late 80s.
People change.
I get it.
It's different than when you move in. So let's go back to Dollar General.
So that goes back. So as we're told, we have these lawsuits in town, and unfortunately, Joey's opinion is, and I'm not against a town planner / economic guy. I'm against the way we're thinking about it.
Okay.
Smart. Now we're going to do smart things. So we haven't been smart the last 25
There'd
years.
be some people that said,
No, understood. But I just think how we categorize things isn't professional sometimes. Our last town planner, we had an engineer retire, so we decided let's kind of create some new positions and clean up some messes or no messes or maybe stuff that wasn't being dealt with. So we did that. Mr. Goddard, it fit him perfectly. So Mr. Goddard's a great guy, but
Absolutely.
to say he didn't do smart things, and no one says his name, but when you come in with these new products of smart this, no, it's a different way of looking at things. Absolutely.
well,
and
I
these lawsuits,
wouldn't have worded it that way.
No, and you
know.
didn't. And these lawsuits aren't. Your town planner / economic guy wouldn't have stopped this lawsuit from Dollar General, in my eyes. It's how something was voted on is what created it, which is fine. And the same with a cell tower. Something was voted on, and we didn't write the rules. We didn't write the rules and regs for planning, right? But we have to kind of abide by them.
Yeah.
And now we have planning board members that all of a sudden, I don't know if they're so afraid of what people think that they vote a certain way and they forget why they were put in there is to follow procedure and do what's right, just like you and me.
Yeah.
I'm appointed now, right? So I guess I'm Teflon Don for 3 years. You can't get rid of me. You're stuck with me. And I don't know if that's a good or bad thing sometimes, but it's all good.
I like
you
the
got
fact that
voted
you
in for 3
knew
years.
those numbers.
You're there.
Yeah.
And it works.
Yeah.
But I don't know. So yes, the lawsuit and hopefully nothing good comes out of anything, but hopefully we get through all this. So what is up with Dollar General?
So
And that's going down by end of town?
by the
Or proposed? Let me
proposed, there was the last empty lot prior to the greens
Yes.
across from Brosco's old
Yes,
cornfield.
yes, past. Okay, which is a beautiful development going on there someday.
There's
some work finally happening.
Yeah, there's supposed to be 3 really mixed-use, multi-use buildings
It
going
looked
in
gorgeous a million years ago when he applied.
Yeah.
So that'll be
So,
nice.
and I know that's one of the things with the master plan, and we have our first implementation committee meeting tonight, and I hope we're not going to be there 2 hours, 3 hours. But,
Well, it's an interesting. That's another interesting
and
concept.
that's where different opinions are going to really.
But it's a plan. It's not. It's not
gospel.
God.
It-
It's
you know,
not written.
Miss Gale said it
you know,
again the other night. Yeah.
It's not the 11th commandment, boys and girls.
This is
and
a guiding.
a guide, truly a guide
Yep.
that does work and hopefully
But
work.
the demographics change.
Yeah.
The people.
Oh, they
Did
do
I
change.
want another dollar store?
No.
But-
No one does.
But we need that tax base.
It's
and
not even it qualifies. So forget the tax base. Forget what me and you want.
yeah, it fits in that area.
It fit in this box, and it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe it's not perfect. Did I want 2 marijuana stores?
I know you didn't.
Across from each other?
Yeah.
No, and it's all good, and that's what we have. And what we've learned, I just came. Where did I go? I went snowmobiling on Sunday. So we went up through Pittsfield, right, to Greylock.
Mount Greylock, yep.
I went probably by 3 or 4 marijuana stores. The facade at this door right here to come into this radio station looked 10 times better. So it's, so here we go. We have this old dollar store, which is a huge facility.
Yeah.
And me and you both figured out they're going to use a third of that.
And
it's all good, but that's what he was dealt with.
Yep.
And then the log cabin church, right? A little smaller.
Yep.
Probably will fit better for that guy.
Yep.
So it's just, we forced them into certain
yeah,
spots.
I mean,
and they're there.
The residents spoke and wanted a limit where they went.
Yeah.
And we have to work with what we have.
You do. And I think it'll work on both ends, but
I do.
it is what it is.
And I know the gentleman that owns the Bears, and I can't remember his name.
I feel bad for that discussion on Monday night.
Here's the thing. What's nice is Cliff from the Westfield News.
Yeah.
Pioneer Valley Tradings has been finally approved by CCC as
Okay.
the newest license.
Yeah.
Exactly. So now, what the exact next steps are, I don't
know.
Not for
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
They've got.
But the ball's rolling.
The ball's rolling, and we know it doesn't move fast. Nothing moves fast.
No.
Especially when you get the state involved. And with the cannabis thing, unfortunately, fell the same way the municipal aggravation fell. The state decided to change the rules right in the middle of the game.
Yeah. And they're not done changing rules.
No, when I forget what it was we were talking about the other night, and I'm like, well, don't say that about the state because it can change tomorrow.
Yeah.
And
It has.
we have too much government in the state of Massachusetts. There's just too much.
It's interesting. There was
Interesting
a thing
is an
about
understatement.
it was on TV last night or this morning in regards to the housing and how the billions we're spending, and now our governor wants to, we need rules and regulations we gotta hone this in. Well, you created the mess, and now she's making
I'm
it
gonna
sound
tell
like
you right now,
someone else created the mess, and thank God she's
I've
there
said
to
to
hone
people-
it in. It's crazy.
Honestly, I've been so annoyed with some of these things, Joe. I'm like prime example, the state auditor, Diane DeZoglio wants to. We are one of only like 6 states in the entire country that our legislature doesn't have to even though the Constitution says, the state Constitution says, they have to answer to us. I'm sitting there, I literally have started researching, how do we change the state Constitution? We have to have a constitutional convention. If the state pushed the dial a little bit farther the other way this time around,
Right.
at the elections, I think people in this state, they're bailing left and right. We're losing people. We're bleeding.
Sure.
And we need to do something, to change that. And the fact that you can go in the middle of the night out in Boston, hey, we're going to have a budget subcommittee meeting, publics, and you're going to stick a recreational bill hidden at the end of another bill.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. And
That's government as a whole, though. Right.
and that's why I've tried to
sad.
always, I know Mr. Moglen said the discussions about some of these increase in hours and stuff like that. And like I said at the end of the meeting, I actually appreciate this being brought forward ahead of time because it gives, it gives the opportunity for the people to know. Because sometimes, as you know, and when I first came into town, I didn't understand how the town meeting worked either. I
You
came
never
from
been
here.
to one for Christ's sakes.
No.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, all right. So that's how it's done. Because even when I pull papers, and so I got to pull them this early for November, and they're like, no, your election's in May. You got like 4 weeks to get
Right.
100 or whatever it is.
Whatever it was, yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay.
Right.
So, but people don't sometimes understand. A lot of times, and I don't use the word ignorant in a bad way. It's just sometimes you have to educate yourself. Insert foot before you open your mouth, or vice versa.
Oh yeah, it happens.
Open mouth, insert, and God knows I've done that a few times.
Yeah.
But you roll with it. You learn from your mistake. You take a mistake and use it as a learning lesson. Use it as a tool, and try not to make the same one twice.
I'll leave that alone. I promised myself I'd behave.
I will say with politics,
It's so
learning
hard.
this on the
It's hard.
fly.
It's hard.
It's like, But like I said, I'm at the point now where I'm comfortable with it. I wasn't comfortable with the chairmanship right off the bat.
No.
All right, you're chairman, but the agenda was set by you, Mr. Mo. It's like, so that was okay. I'll figure it out.
Yeah, you're doing all right. It is
Well, I
what it
appreciate
is.
that.
It's a letter in front of you, right, with notes. Just don't lose your line where you are. That's was my biggest headache. As I come right off of that paper and not even care, and next thing you know, where are we? Number 6. I'm on 7.
I think sometimes I get too,
Well, you get animated about what's in front of you.
Yeah.
And we do. You just kind of lose where you're at,
Because as you said earlier on this, even before I was chairman, I tend to try and stay quiet most of the time, but when I get going, I get going.
Yeah.
And sometimes, I've had, that's why.
Especially if it gives you a chance to say, well, Westfield, that triggers everything. So
Hey, somebody, I gotta look at things. So, I got 28 years in municipal
no,
government.
I get
so-
it. I get it.
And
You've lived it.
We're not a city in Southwick.
No, we're not.
And I sometimes say ordinance, bylaw, same thing, different.
Yeah.
Different way
Different
of
way
running
of-
things.
yeah.
But I like I said, we'll go to that a little bit later with the nuisance thing. 'Cause
Yeah.
I think that covers a lot of the problems that have come up.
It's different, right? There's probably a lot of problems that don't come up, but really do come up, and we just don't see them, or we don't want to see them.
Like I said, I've had people call me,
Yeah.
and we'll deal with it. So that whole thing with the North Pond thing, the task force is great, and Miss Gales, some of the stuff they've come up with is great, but rather than having just business restricted, these different things that govern different ways for the same thing, That's why I gave that to you. That can be tweaked perfectly to the way we want it.
Oh, absolutely.
And then the officers, like Mr. Kane said, well, parking isn't the problem.
Yeah.
I actually think reducing the parking lot, my personal opinion, is not a wise. I would like to go in there, figure out a better way to set the parking up, and one way in, one way out, and then if there's a problem with this, if they're a problem and they're being noisy, they're urinating and in the woods, leaving their trash, you show up and, again, officers use their discretion. That's what they're supposed to do. That's what we're trained to do.
Right.
And you're trained, these are the things you have to do. These are the things where you can use your discretion. So even with this new parking stuff, an officer can show up, a neighbor can be upset. It's the officer gets to make that call.
Right.
So, I don't think the parking signs were the right idea. And
guest. Make sure it says and guest.
And
where's my invitation? I know I got it here somewhere. See, I'm a guest. It's right here. See, it's all good.
But that doesn't solve the problem. I think the way to deal with it is, the way I deal with it is take that model that I took here from the town of Westfield and tweak it to the way it's already been vetted.
Southwick standards. Yeah.
And it's not, and that's, like I said, if an officer or anybody's, because as you saw, that's designed to allow police, fire, public safety.
Yeah.
That would allow, not that I'd want to send Tom Hibbert out there to deal with those people.
Right.
That are fighting and everything like that. Yeah. But, he can roll up and say, this, you can't do this. Because right now it's tough with some of the specific bylaws.
Yeah.
There's no, some of them are very vague.
Yep. And they've been.
Yeah.
Right. That allow us to ride snowmobiles back in the day. So
when I hear the ATV thing, I said, "Yep, I used to ride through there all the time."
Yeah, and it's right.
Yeah, and right, wrong, or indifferent, but
that's what you did.
But
you didn't leave any trash behind, I bet.
No, the demographics, like we said, have changed. It's like a different. People want and expect a different thing out of what they envisioned when they came to Southwick. But sometimes you also have to, mold with what is put in front of you. You can't. Not everybody's going to change just for you.
No, and that parking is parking, whether it's there or not. You're right back to the leaving of the trash, which was caused by people partying.
Yeah.
I didn't take my trash from my kitchen today and sneak over to North Pond and drop it.
No,
I created my own trash at North Pond and left it.
And it's tough because with those, I even asked, can we buy our conservation restrict? It's a money.
No, understood.
It's like,
yeah.
Can't we get the state out of this? But it's like, but we, there's a way to do it, but it'd be one of those crazy state things. I think we'd have to go in front of town meeting.
Oh, you would.
And it's honestly, it's not worth the aggravation. We just need to not necessarily do a better job of patrolling that area, but actually getting the opportunity when we can to go out there and do what we can do. And if we have to restrict the access again, that's what'll happen next year.
Yeah.
I hope it doesn't come to that. It may not be me there, it may be you there, or maybe somebody else.
Yeah.
But we did what we did. I know there was a lot of complaining. When it comes to public safety, you're not going to get me to bend on that.
Well, I think the complaining, it wasn't. So my vision was that you had people that use that place all the time, the neighbors, right?
Yep.
And before, the rope swing. Oh my God, they're taking down our youth. Yeah, well, guess what? In your youth, the town didn't own the property.
Yeah.
Right. Some family did that didn't live in Southwick.
That at one point made a beach.
Yeah.
For everybody to have some recreation.
And they go back to King's Beach back in the day. That was a long time ago. And in Southwick, anything that's been closed for X amount of years, that right goes away.
Yeah.
So it hasn't been King's Beach. And it wasn't purchased to be King's Beach.
No.
It was purchased to save our water.
Yep.
Right. And honestly, save that side of town.
Yeah.
Keep it quiet. And I think,
what is it? That was the last really undeveloped spot on the
pretty
lake.
much is.
So
it really is. So it's a win-win. It's just, certain people that voted for it thought they could put their pontoon boat down there the next day and party their asses off. And they still do to a certain extent. And unfortunately, some of those people feel they have some power in town and they get very offended.
Very vocal.
Very offended when you selectmen decide that, no, it's not what it's for. Yes, it's to keep, but not to party left and right on.
I mean, I believe when I first got on with Mr. Fox and Mr. Moglen, I said the same thing. I said, well, then let's just put up some sort of buoys like they do at Chicopee State Park, so people can't pull in there. I got lambasted.
Oh, of course you did, and you still will because because you're not part of the 200 pontoon boats on a certain Saturday, or now maybe it's only 100, right? I don't even know. You know, I try not to look. To be honest,
I don't get to go out there much. My house is not on the lake. I don't have a watercraft. I go out if I get the opportunity, but and like that part of the problem with the trashing of the place, I guess, the disgusting is the public urination and stuff like that. And honestly, when there's not the large groups out there, that public urination comes from the people that are on the boats.
Oh, it comes from everybody.
And
everybody. That's
and I would
it's
love
not just the people
I'm not
walking
gonna,
in.
No,
it's not. So they're all together on that one.
Of course,
absolutely.
in a municipal pool, there was a lot of pee in that pool, but
grandmother's garden.
Grandmother's garden,
right? Grandmother's garden.
If they actually had that stuff that turned the water blue, it would probably look like a toilet bowl.
Yeah.
But I miss some of those days. But But now we have splash pads.
You know what? You guys voted for it, and it's all good. And I don't mean you personally, and I'm not trying to beat you up, but I thank God we have social media today, right? Isn't it? Was it Cries and Whispers when we were younger in the Westfield paper?
Yeah.
Right. So here we are, right? Oh my God, social media. Let's light it up because they're all coming.
Postline too.
Postline, yeah. They're all coming from everywhere else to go to Southwick Splash Pad. Well, you voted for it. No different than the pickleball courts, right? So you got all the crazies. They're out. We see it every day.
Yeah.
So. My digital sign will say, "Here's the date of your pickleball court, $600,000
That's
upgrade."
a tough one because
it's all good, but just don't get on here and scream when you didn't show up to vote it down.
And that's the thing.
Yeah,
it's like, and again, I'll go back to Mr. Morgan always says it. The one good thing is, they blame us a lot. The select,
of course.
God, God damn them. And all this
that
other
pothole's
stuff.
your fault.
And I get it.
Yeah,
I'm listening.
absolutely.
I hear what, I go on that, and I've learned don't answer back.
You finally learned that? Some of your little rants, I would just go, oh, God.
There was a couple of times early on, it's like, you don't understand what you're talking. It's like, but then it just gets worse and worse.
It does.
And, that's why.
You'll never win.
No.
And you won't even come in second.
No.
You're just done.
So I said, the best thing to do is pay attention to what they're saying and say, hey, at the next meeting. So I read this. I've heard this. This is what we're doing.
Yeah.
And even then, you'll still be bitched about.
Oh, yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
I asked to sit in that seat. Sometimes I need to bring in my bulletproof vest and avoid the zingers. But you know what? I've been dealing with people that didn't want to see us at all in my professional capacity for 20-something years, where 75% of the time they hate you.
Yeah.
Now it's 50% at least.
Yeah. No, understood.
And maybe not hate you, but completely disagree with you and want to tell you that you're wrong.
Right.
And that's okay. I'll listen to it.
Yeah.
So I that's why, I'm a little more open with the meetings where, I've pointed to you and everybody.
Well, and I learn when you're in a good mood, not mood. And if you don't get me fired up, I don't usually mouth off. So like this last one, I was like, I got something intelligent to say, really, I promise, But,
well, you've outright admitted sometimes that you're just there to bust stones.
Well, just some of the stuff just drives me nuts. And it drove me nuts as a selectman, too. Don't get me wrong. But now after my year of probation is over, I can say what I want. Yeah, if you get unelected in the future, you have a year that you have supposed to keep your mouth shut.
Supposed to not be
God
involved
willing,
in anything.
Oh, geez, you can't be involved.
No.
Crock of crap.
So
but that's all good. So back to the dollar store. So where are we at?
Hey, I have ADHD, so
No, it's all
that
good.
train of thought will derail to the next line.
As long as you don't have a gun in your hand when you have ADHD, we're good. So
yeah. I do pretty good there, believe it or not.
I do believe it. Or you wouldn't be an officer.
No. So with the Dollar General, like I said, when I saw the decision, I said, all right, this is going to be problematic.
Yeah.
And it was.
Yeah.
Because, and I've seen all the posting. Am I a fan of Dollar General stores or dollar stores in general? Interesting. But if you look at the way things have gone, there's no more Ames Kohl's is starting to announce bankruptcies and closings.
Yeah.
There's no more. There's one Kmart left in the entire country.
Yeah.
The Walmarts, and now Walmart got smart. Which, if Sears had done that, because they were the original mail order.
Oh,
guys.
yes, they were.
If that gentleman
Yeah.
who bought Sears and Kmart had said, maybe I should follow that model, they'd still be around. It's disappointing.
We grew up with Sears, right?
I used to,
Yeah.
school shop.
Parts.
School
schools.
time. Rustler jeans or whatever they were for the Sears and Roebuck ones.
Think about this: the only thing that survives from the Sears to this day is Craftsman, and because Lowe's bought the tool line.
Yeah.
Yep. And it's sad. You go to the Holyoke Mall, and West Farm still has stuff, but even West Farm, somebody posted pictures, and it's like it's a different world. You go in, you remember when it was G Fox. Macy's. Macy's is still there, but Filene's, and but unfortunately, that's the way things have gone. So back to the Dollar General aspect of it. That's the market as far as retail now.
It is. And if it's like the one that was across from the State Police Barracks, which I think it is up in Westfield.
It's actually up by Hometown Structures. So
there's one there too. So there's also one up in the woods by the State Police Barracks.
Oh,
in Russell.
Russell, thank you, Russell.
It's right. It's where the
ice cream stand
Amish
was.
used to have the bread baking place.
Yep. So it's not your 99-cent store.
No, Dollar General is.
It's
better.
like a mini Walmart.
Yeah, it really
is.
It's
a mini Walmart.
Yeah,
it is.
Because I have one right across the street from me on the north side.
Yeah.
You know where it is exactly. So it's a better store. But here's the thing that I sat there and I said, hey, if they do everything that we asked them to do and the residents have asked, I got no problem with it.
Right.
And they did. And they bent over. I mean, the first thing I said at one of those meetings is, hey, I started looking up some of their facades. I said, they do have barn facades.
Yeah.
And they were willing to do everything we asked.
Yeah.
And I just, and I'm not faulting them. And that's what they got elected for that board for, but in my opinion, they made the wrong decision, which put us where we are now, which, and I watched the last planning board meeting, and, it's, do I see it passing? Probably.
Well, it wasn't put back in your lap for no known reason. It was put back like, boys and girls, figure this out. Let's go.
And in my learning capacity, I even said, I know if it's thrown back at us, why don't we just tell, and we can't because we don't run that board.
Yeah.
I said, but if they're going to throw it back on me, I'm going to tell you, you need to do it.
Yeah.
Especially if it's going to be a problematic, but fortunately the mediation, even though it still is a financial hit with attorneys and what stuff like that, the mediation has given the planning board an opportunity to at least rethink things.
Yeah.
And, as much as you want to, at a philosophical level, put your stamp on it in a way, if the rules say it fits and it works, you can't go outside the rules. You can't change the rules.
No. And, as we're quoted in your selectman meeting the other day, smart growth. What is smart growth? Because it's a dollar store. If Walmart came out with their own version, not even Walmart, right? Kroger's or the Big Y Express, right? Here we go. So then that's okay because that would be dubbed a grocery store maybe versus it is a grocery store, Dollar General.
Actually, they have actually started a few model stores that they're starting to transition to not really a Trader Joe's, but the same kind of mindset
concept,
on a grocery side.
Right.
And, I know shop small, shop Southwick, we want to.
Sure you do, but yeah.
Things have come and gone because, the gentleman with the buses and bears, he's, I hope Pioneer Valley, like I said, they've got approved. I hope they can kind of fast track. I'd like to see that first tax check show up before the end of this fiscal year. It'd be good to see. And then
tax check from the drug?
From
the pot?
Cannabis.
I'm sorry. Transfer station dump. I'm all over.
I get it.
Yeah. So you're right. The cannabis.
In the forecasted overall tax projections, if they come in, they're going to help.
They got to help.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's the only reason I wanted it. Did we miss the boat early on the big money? Yeah, we did.
Right.
Because when it first came through.
But that's how it was voted
Yep.
by the people.
Yep.
And mind you, I don't think it was, the way that you have to write things now to go into any proper whatever in these towns.
Yeah.
A vote yes was a no, but a no was a yes. And
It's-
so I even voted. I wanted it, and I voted wrong. I voted yes, which meant no. So
That's why, like the
no,
state.
I'm
has
just
to-
saying, it just it
That's
is
why
what it is.
The political action committees this past November, it's like they had to clearly explain. Well, just write if you like this, yes. If
Yes.
you like, don't, no.
Right. So simple. So I don't think you'll see revenue though, because I don't think any door will open before the first of the year.
Probably not. But they have to pay quarterly, and I'm not sure if it comes back to us quarterly or not.
Yeah, I don't even know.
It's a quarterly breakdown, so
Right.
I would like to think.
You would hope by July we'd see
Something
our
would-
first check coming in of some
So-
kind, or at least a number you can program into your budget.
Yeah. So now that since I monopolized, so what else do you want to talk about?
What else is there to talk about?
So we got budget season coming up.
Oh, do we?
Yeah, March 1st and 8th.
Yeah.
If people want to
Thank
really
God.
know where the numbers are going,
Yeah. And
and I
are you going to make both of those this year? Last year you missed one.
I missed one.
Yep.
Yeah, had to work.
That's why I was not too concerned with what the selectmen cared about because, and you can miss them. It's not the end of the world. They're taped.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Numbers are numbers. So it's not.
Right, I was there for the reconciliation and all the other
Yeah,
stuff.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
And I get to look at the numbers and still say yay or nay. And
Yep.
I'm assuming you're going to stay. You're going to show me level funding, and then you need to show me why you need more money here or there.
After this year's select board meetings, I'm learning that I think I have to just about drain the pond because if I leave any funds anywhere, it's assumed it can be used for something. And it's not a bad thing. It's just a thing, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, I don't see where we can go up 5% on anyone's budget.
At the school meeting, what's the appetite for a proper? I said there is no appetite for a 2.5 over.
No.
Nowhere would anybody want to.
Right.
But there, you look at the numbers.
467, I think, was the number, and I don't think that included any of the classroom side, right? That was just maintenance department, big projects moving forward.
$192,000. Well, you're getting $325,000 back this year that was mistakenly paid by this town for all those years.
Yeah.
Because of the way the regional agreement was.
Until I see that
interpreted.
really on paper, I don't believe that. And it's nothing against anyone. I physically got to see where those savings
I mean,
are.
the numbers will change because like they said, we don't know how many kids from
No,
Southwick
absolutely.
are going to go.
And it's all good.
But if
Yeah.
the numbers play similar, you're looking at about that. Pay for your own track. $192,000. That's you and I ran on a gravel track there,
Yeah.
and
I used to have records on Powder Mill when the principal's offices,
Yeah.
right? Back when we were kids. There's a wall across there, and it would list everyone that held records.
yeah, when the bleachers and all that stuff
Yeah,
were
yeah.
still there.
And I was on there quite a bit.
where the drivers
for running.
used to be parked
Yeah.
underneath the bleachers.
Yeah. So yes, I recall that track. I recall tumbling
Yeah.
on that track. Yeah.
I mean, they spent all that money on the track by all
They did.
means, but 190. I mean,
I know.
pick and choose. And then you're telling me about the boilers and stuff. If there's one that's been there, that one is as old-
72 or something, right?
That's the year I was born, so it's 53 years old.
There you go.
I completely get that, but shame on whoever let them design it with not enough capacity.
Yeah. And that's all through the state.
And really, now that the mindset is smarter, where all right, let's design this where if we expand, we can add more capacity. Not always,
Right.
but there is that mindset a little bit. There's a little more thought process involved in it.
I hope we're not expanding anymore up there. I think we got plenty of.
Well, the class sizes are going down.
Yeah.
The COVID thing put in place a lot of the in-place learning.
Yeah.
In some cases, the special education kids, I know folks that they do better with the online. Even colleges. I shake my head when you see colleges adding buildings now, and like Westfield is a prime example of the state college. When I first got on, that thing was packed dorm. And that's why they started moving down here.
Right.
Now they move down here because it's cheaper to stay here
Yeah.
than it is to stay on campus. I mean, we had a whole dorm open that they were talking about bringing in the migrants,
Yeah.
and letting them live there, and in another dorm that was half empty.
Yeah.
So the models are changing, things are changing.
They are.
People don't go, like you said, we went outside, snowmobiled, did ATVs, partied in the woods.
Yeah.
I can't remember the last time I broke up a high school party.
Yeah.
A bunch of them early on.
True. Yeah. Yeah. In your younger days, absolutely.
It's I feel like an old person when I say this stuff.
Yeah.
Things have changed.
They have.
So,
But now they're changing every 4 or 5 years. It's not like, it was 20 years ago.
this is where my concern with so, like Mr. Moglen says, we put it in front of the people. Generally, there's things that I have my opinions on, and I think the town planner, developer, economic would be a good thing. I still do.
Oh, yeah.
For different reasons. Prime reasons. It's one of the things that popped into my head is when Mr. Diley was saying certain things.
Oh, yes. We
interpretation-
need his blessing now to come to town. That's how I read that. And I'm being a jerk, and that's fine. But come on. You want to see my finances to see if my ice cream shop's going to survive? Who are you to tell me?
That's the problem.
That's BS all the way through. And he brought it up in front of the planning board the week before.
Yes, he did. I saw that, and I knew it was coming.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm
And at least they were smart enough to go, whoa.
I can't agree with that one.
No.
I want what I
They
want
have
you
no-
to do is this, like I did when I asked Mr. Steinhardt. And I'll let everybody know. I reached out to Harbor Freight. I said, "Hey, would you have any interest?" I think Harbor Freight would do a killing in Southlake.
Well, like Tractor Supply, right?
Yep.
They do very well
And
there.
it's people are like, "Well, you're going to hurt tractors." No, people that go to IBS are still going to go to IBS.
Yep.
Tractor Supply, people don't go there to buy tools.
Right.
They go there for Carhartt. They go there for their feed.
Right.
And other stuff like that.
Right.
The people that
no
go to
doubt.
Harbor Freight are the people that, you're a car guy, stuff like that. It's
Yeah.
like, good, I'll go get a welder. Whatever. They were interested, but
I hope they don't come because I spent enough time in the one, and like when you get as a car guy, and as you know, when we walk in there, it's not a 10-minute walk.
I have actually recently had to sell stuff because I already had it.
Oh.
I need this.
Oh, wonderful!
Yeah, and I go through. I'm been cleaning stuff.
I got
out,
3 now.
much to my wife's pleasure. She now has 2 bays that she can use.
Oh.
Almost.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I already had one of these. I already had one of those.
Yeah.
But but there's a lot of pushback on we don't want big box or chain stores, and I understand that, but like
They don't support the little guy here in this town. They just don't. And it's
People
hard.
look for the deal.
It's hard.
They
Amazon
look
is
for the
Amazon.
deal.
It's right there.
Yeah.
It's very hard to.
Christmas shopping. I said I'm never gonna. I love and I'm a Christmas guy. That's why I'm wearing this crazy hat.
I thought you were just trying to keep your head warm.
That too.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to wear my pink bunny suit to the senior thing this year because they don't get it.
Well, I think that's today. We weren't invited, so
Oh, you weren't?
no.
We were late. We got a late invite, but we got invited.
Oh, good.
So
I think you got to be there by 12. Just
something like that.
okay.
Yeah.
Don't
And,
screw that up.
So, I won't wear my pink bunny suit this year because that generation doesn't quite.
That was odd. Just let
They
and
kept people-
unshaven. You just none of that worked well for you, and it's all good, But
It was only people in my age
You're
bracket.
gonna shoot your eye out with that thing.
yeah,
People are like, "Why are you wearing an Easter
Yeah,
bunny costume?"
exactly.
I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, they don't get it. Never mind.
I'm gonna borrow a Santa suit. You can go with Santa today, and they probably would appreciate that.
I'm just gonna wear the hat, and we all
All right.
got aprons that look like the front of Santa's suit.
Oh, nice.
So we got a little something. I was looking for something, but they wouldn't understand Buddy the Elf either. So
No,
so
yeah, but it's all good. You're doing a good job.
but yeah, I mean, we got to be careful with some of the things we say like that.
Yeah,
I mentioned it at the meeting. I literally wrote down, we need to be careful there. We can't say this, and that's what happened with that other situation. This isn't good for the town. And
it's okay to say Carvana. You guys with this whole, we can't say that word. Why?
well, that's what I was told.
Why?
but-
You can say it all you want, and as
with
you
Carvana-
and as you and the other select woman has learned, not too many people did much wrong with that project. We all got blamed for a lot of stuff.
No.
We got thrown under the bus. We got voted out. But at the end of the day, geez, they didn't really.
And it
If you
wasn't
want to
that
blame
gets to make
anyone,
the ultimate decision.
it was the planning board. But saving grace, God's grace, they're still there.
And what's good?
and it's all good. Just
it ended up working out in the long run with Carvana kind of tanking somewhat. But
Yeah, but you know what my vision there was? Honestly, if it went through, right, if they weren't going to build the shoebox, matchbox thing, right?
yeah, that's what I thought it was at
no,
first.
Sure.
Yeah.
That would have been cool, though. We would have had a lot of fun with that.
I've only seen one of those, and it's usually I'll see it next week.
Yes.
I'm in Vegas. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
But so my vision was, wow, right, this is the Carvana property. They're going to pave it, 2 buildings. Oh, they're going under. They might be going under. Oh, okay, well, if they go under, they go under. They just built us a nice industrial park. Now we can add 4 or 5 buildings, right? I pray they didn't pay their taxes, because then we'd end up with it as a town, then spin it. So that's what we're missing, right? You know, these nice economic development guys who want to check the box.
We don't have enough industrial economic.
Thank you. And we don't have enough to steer. Like Westfield has that group.
Yeah.
You know, that was it West Mass, or there's something out there back in the day.
Yeah.
You know, that helps steer all these
Well, they
projects.
have we have.
You have something.
Yeah, the Westfield has their own economic development.
Right. But they're involved with the
And they're
land.
on Chamber of Commerce and
yeah.
Western Mass Development, which is based out of.
There you go, Western Mass Development, right. So we don't, Southwick's not going to grab that stuff. So I'm looking at that land going, there's our shot, right, of all of that. And yes, it didn't work out either way. It doesn't matter. But that's all I kept seeing. I didn't see Carvana. And,
I saw when I was a kid, well, not when I was a kid, but when it first went up for sale, when Colbro, Indus, selling all that stuff off, I said, and this is probably a bad thing now.
It doesn't matter.
It's like, I said, hey, Target, movie theater, right by Connecticut.
At one point, that was going to be the center of town, or that was the talk, right?
Yeah.
Where is the center of our town? We're not Northampton. We don't have the beautiful old storefronts with apartments up,
Yeah.
and we're not going to. I don't care how many speed bumps you put in,
Well, as
how
I
much
said
you
to
slow
this is-
down
I
that center of
texted you on
town.
the way here,
Yeah.
I am not a fan of
The 25 mile an hour.
zones.
Yeah.
If it was Northampton, if it was even, we had a stretch where Westfield, like we have in town,
Right.
and the old downtown, it would make sense.
Yeah.
Do I think we need maybe a possible cross light, white light for the crosswalk?
Oh, understood.
Somewhere.
Yeah. And I don't think anyone's against
Slow it
that
down
kind of stuff.
a little bit, but-
right? Trying to reproduce something we don't have, you know what
I
I
would
mean?
love to do that.
We're not Norman Rockwell.
The only
We're
way
not
you
gonna
could
be.
do that with that section, and I said, is you need to go where Roma's used to be,
Yeah.
and where the pet store. My envision, if I was really going to do that and had the money to do it, I would, and it's probably craziness, but I would have flattened it and put multi-use buildings that have that look,
Right.
with some apartments and offices on top, because that's one of the things that's been talked about
Sure,
in the master plan.
absolutely.
And the multi-use stuff, but
But our zoning won't even allow it. And they're trying to change it. I mean, the
Yeah.
young man with the used car lot, right? There's a house behind that, been there for 100 years.
I didn't even know it was there.
I didn't realize it was that big. I knew there
And
was
gentlemen-
something back there.
It's 9 o'clock.
Yeah, so the other people run over. We're running over.
Okay.
Making a stand.
All right.
So now I hope planning gets involved to,
Well, if
and they
anybody's
are.
going to say it's going to be him, and I agree. We're having fun.
Yeah, but so they're going to hopefully change zoning as they move forward.
Yeah.
To help
I think
with
that's
that.
one of the biggest. I mean, the only by right use we have is the bank. That's old school. That's that's back when you had
When you
couple
had
general
banks.
stores and you had banks.
You had banks.
There
you
was
know?
a bank there at one point.
No, and there was. There
close
was.
to the dentist's office. And,
Yeah.
But and the one thing I keep saying to people is this is why people say, well, Southwick's business unfriendly.
Southwick's what?
Business unfriendly.
It is
Not
right now.
friendly to business.
It is right now.
We can't.
Levesque must laugh when they pull in and say, "Hey, this is what we're thinking." The boys in the suits.
Yeah.
I'm sure Levesque's like, "Yeah, give me a deposit. Yep, cool. Yep, thanks. Check clear."
And people shouldn't realize you don't have to blame Rob Levesque.
No, and it's not Rob.
Yeah,
He's the game in
these
town
are the
that
people that own the property. They got
Yeah.
the right to do what they want with their. And I hope Mr. Wally. I'm going to try and convince him those commercial parcels on the front. I'd love to still see those used for commercial retail. I don't know if John will want to do that.
I don't think John cares. Like he true and true. He
he
loves
dedicated
acquiring
to what he
land.
loves, yeah.
I think we all should worry about when John passes on, because he's a very big stakeholder in town of property, and he can we can all have a vision, right? Literally, and I'm not trying to be a jerk, but
Oh, no, absolutely.
I can have a vision, and when I die, doesn't mean my kids are going to keep my vision going.
You're seeing it now.
Yeah,
Everywhere.
and it's not whether it's a car or property. It is what it is, and that's where we're headed with John. He's done a lot for this town. I mean, I got a tour the other day. I had stopped to see Mr. Moglen. It's gorgeous. Like the technology in that new building is unbelievable. I mean, the structure's nice, right? And there's so many football fields. Like, no, forget that. Look at the technology of whether it's talking from one side of the building to the other. The forklift system is
I'll have to.
it's on a rail. Like,
Last time I was there, it was still.
yeah, and I didn't see it run, but it's just, everything is skinnier so he can fit more. I mean, well thought out, and that's, and I was telling Mr. Moglen that Wally Computer isn't the business it was when he started, right?
No,
and that,
it was in that corner office.
Yeah. So
storefront,
so they've developed, they've changed.
and now they're international. They're everywhere.
But they're such a small piece. So I laughed and said, so there's probably 3,000 Wally Computers out there in every little small major town that acquired so much business doing whatever he does computer-wise. And there's someone else, Dell isn't everywhere, right? They all work together, but it's just cool to see what they've done there, technology, business-wise, how many employees they have. And it's sitting in
One
Southwick.
thing you and I both definitely agree on is with this rewrite or this reevaluation of our zoning, we need to look to find that commercial property, industrial property that's off the beaten path.
But it's no good if the town doesn't want it. If everyone
Gotta
wants to
convince-
look out and
well,
see their view that they don't
We
own.
did a first tax rate increase since I've been on, 10
Yeah.
cents. And it's not a lot, but it's going to add up just for some people. And I
definitely is,
understand
yeah.
that. By no means do I ever want to make people more pay. That's like I said with the sewer thing. I was just
No, it's all
entertaining
good.
it. And like with the high-speed internet, and I know Peter's going to shut us off, and I don't blame him. And he's got to go on. But I wanted to say that the high-speed internet idea, I'm all for.
Yeah.
And do I think that once it's up and running, you'll eventually get that number you want?
Yeah.
That's where I'm a little scared right now.
I think you get there someday.
We will.
Someday.
I mean, everywhere
But
they've gone, but
the way technology is flying, I don't
Starlink
know.
is
I don't
growing.
know.
It
Yeah.
hasn't gone public yet, but I follow some of that stuff, and that's one of the things I was looking at for Wally Park with the Wi-Fi.
Right.
Is and we were talked about Starlink, and just like everything else, I think you're going to see, like they do with the cell phone towers, it's going to be soon where you're going to have a booster.
Yeah.
And if you want,
Well, they're doing that
I don't
now,
even
aren't
have
they?
a phone line in my house.
Yeah.
They didn't put one in because, you don't need it. And other than needing it for when the cyber attacks come,
Yeah.
you need the hardwired stuff that, the government.
Oh, I'm going right back to smoke signals, by the way. So just look to the sky.
I want to build a hole in the ground but I'm all for the high-speed internet and the things that we're putting in front of the folks.
There's a lot. You got potholes. You got millions there that you
you're
want to
looking
spend.
at over over $1 million in CPC funds that they want to spend.
Yeah.
We all want to spend.
Yeah.
For the town hall, we need it. And I'm very supportive of the historical. I'm a history guy. I love history, and but that's a little bit of money too.
It is.
One of the things I had talked about to some people is we may have to revisit with the people with the talk of the tax rate, and I know that's not a popular topic. Bringing that percentage down at some point just to help people here in town.
Percentage of what?
The community preservation.
We tried.
I heard.
And it's all good, and it was all for great reasons because the way things have changed,
I love that
you could lower that rate and you're still pulling the same numbers.
Yeah.
Because inflation, the way it's gone over the last few years.
And it's not the tax rate that's really hurting; it's the assessed values.
Yeah.
And like I said, I hope somewhere along the lines, and hopefully after January 26th, when he gets sworn in, things will change economically and get a little bit better again, and things will stabilize for now, and hopefully may not be. Hopefully it's 12 years of
we'll see, right?
a little more conservative.
Right.
Whether I don't agree with the way certain people do things
No.
and personalities at some points, but you and I've some people sometimes just need to.
They don't, though.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. Including us.
Exactly. I was thinking myself included.
No, and it's all good. We move on, and,
Yeah.
I just chuckle about inside if we weren't as conservative as we are in town, or some of us are, what our tax rate really would be.
Yeah.
So we've done our best, I think. No one seems to want to get on that bandwagon of how we can save lately. And I shouldn't say it's spend, but boy, it just looks that way. It does.
I get it.
Yeah.
But that's why with the conservation, show me the numbers, show me,
Yeah.
And the planner, the one thing Mr. Steinhardt said was, and I mentioned it, and my development has its issues, my residential development, but, we still got Starrett Drive, that was same thing,
Yeah.
And that's where I think Ms. Parker's coming from, is you have that more oversight. You have somebody that can go out there all the time, because it's not the Conservation Commission's job to go out and do Sabrina's job. It's not the planning board's job to go out and do some of these jobs. They're there to govern, not manage.
Right. But I think in a lot of those aspects,
Should they-
the problems we see are inherited by the builder
Yeah.
of sorts,
Yeah.
or developer, I should say. So, would those problems been there if we had that person? Yeah, they'd still be there. I laughed. I had some folks help me put Christmas trees up the other day, and great conversations. But I look at Connecticut, right? You're gonna go take a left, go to the airport. Condos went up there. They're beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
But before the condos went up, the road was put in. All of the landscaping up front was done. So you drove by a beautifully groomed area, and then what are they doing here? Oh, now the buildings are going up.
Yeah.
And I just look at our last few projects that have gone through from developers, and not all of them, but some of them. If you got to put your land up as insurance to move forward, you already got a problem, right? Whether we're supposed to see that or not, I don't know. But, here we are in some of these cases. There's no bond sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
The land has been given back so they could build on.
That's what we're dealing with up in the ranch.
Look at the ranch, right?
Another one of the litigations.
What a hoot that is. So they came in for a certain piece years ago. It got signed off on a Mylar, and either their attorney was smarter than all of us and added it or didn't add something. We didn't catch it as a town, and here we are, right? The guy still lives up there. That was the whole headache. He's still there. He smiles. He waves to his neighbors. I don't think they wave back.
Probably maybe with one finger.
Don't know. I don't live up there, but
Neither do I.
Yeah. So it's interesting, but there we are. We have an open problem there.
Yep.
A
That's been festering for a long time.
long time, and that's not going away. None of these are.
No.
And I don't blame the planning board. And I don't.
Oh no, I'm not by any.
No. And I don't
Yeah.
blame if we had a town economic guy would have changed it either. Maybe we would have found out earlier, but and it's fine. And the other part with our town planner is, and it was finally brought up the other night. Technically, he's 20 hours a week.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know that because he's there all the time.
Yes, he is.
But he's also there filling other roles.
Stormwater. And
Yes, right. So you'll see him on a Saturday with his pickup truck measuring stuff out throughout town. So you sometimes you lose the sight of that. Oh, what's wrong with him? He's there. Sure, he's there, but he's not there in that capacity.
Yeah, he's got to do something.
Yeah, but he'll answer the phone when it rings, and he'll gladly talk to you when you walk in, whether he's on that clock or the other clock. You don't. It's seamless on the outside.
Yeah,
You know?
like you said, you talked about the money, and I'm watching the numbers,
Hey, you know what?
If it's going to work.
The money's fine, right? Just let it go. But I can't do that. I just can't.
Oh, I get it. No,
I
no,
can't.
no.
I just
and I'm
can't.
not just a let it go guy. My priority is take. You mentioned it, and I've had this discussion with people that disagree with me. I want to take care of the people we have. Your people can make or break you.
So that's very frustrating, right? And yeah, I got mouthy sometimes, but you, and it isn't you, and it's not Nicole, and it's not Carl Steinhardt or any of our past anyone, right?
No.
It's what it is.
Yeah.
So someone is aggravated with working for the town of Southwick. We don't know why, right? And then maybe that's not even the case. So they end up giving their notice. Okay, I get it. And he or she's $50,000 a year. Within minutes, it's, we got to bump that to 65 because we got to find someone. Well, and not knowing why they left, whether that 15,000 would have changed things or not.
I did say to Ms. Parker, I would like to put together. People don't have to do it. I asked her to put together an exit sheet. So if somebody
We
leaves-
do have those from years gone by. Yeah,
well,
but
some of the department heads bring them back. I really want to know what.
yeah,
Because we're going to have a couple police officers probably leaving us, and I know why they're.
yeah.
It's but we can't touch that number.
In a lot of departments, you can't touch that number,
No.
but we seem to after the fact if we need to, which I get. But I just there's other, we can look at our employees as a whole and go line item by line item someday and just figure out that this one never really got a raise. Oh, they got their 3% here and there, no doubt, because that's what we do. But I think a lot of jobs in town hall have morphed, and certain people get taken care of and certain people don't. And if you come in new, those dollars come with you. And I'm sure if people look at that and go, I guess Jimmy's worth that or Johnny's worth that, I guess. But yet, Sammy's still getting,
100%.
and I know you do, and I'm not here to blame anyone. It's where we're living today. And I get it, but it's disheartening sometimes because you'll see people leave, and you'll go, "Geez, that person was decent."
And that's you when you got good people.
Yeah, and we're in a cycle too where people are aging out. It's where we're at, so it's going to be a new town government. And it's going to be a new town employees. It just is. You see it more than I do because you live it. But some of these young cops, he's got a gun. He looks 12. He's 27. But as we get older,
as everybody knows, I'm out with my injury. I
can't even tell when you're in or out anymore. I don't even ask because I don't know. Yeah,
I have to go in and pick my times and my sheets and my shifts, and even since the time I've been out,
right,
which is May. I'm looking at the shift. I don't know half my shift when I come back.
There you go. Right.
And it goes in cycles.
Yeah, it does. It definitely does.
And we're at that cycle, and then it won't change too much, but.
Right.
So, but anyway, I'm sure Peter.
All right, Pete, we'll let you go.
15 more minutes.
Yeah, we're not done, but we'll be done.
I'll try and convince him to drag me in here one more time before I'm.
Before you pull
There
papers.
could always be a part 2.
Yeah, part 2. All right, guys. Hey, have a great day.
Merry Christmas, happy
Merry
holidays,
Christmas. This
whatever.
Saturday we have the tree lighting. Santa coming.
I will actually get to stay for the whole thing this year.
Oh, are you? Good.
Yep.
Good.
Yeah, the last couple of years, my wife and I, we do the Polar Express. It's a we've done it as a thing, and that's
Do
usually.
you wear the bunny suit for that?
No,
or-
I wear the Santa hat and the Santa T-shirt.
Okay. All right. Where's that at? Where's the Polar?
That one's ran out of the Blackstone Valley in Rhode Island, Woonsocket.
Oh, nice.
They used to do it at Berkshire a couple of years ago, but
Okay.
when they closed that rail and had to move up to North Adams or whatever,
Right.
they haven't done it. They do a Christmas train. They do something similar.
Oh, okay.
At the Polar Express, they do all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's fun. I started doing it with my kids, and then I did it with my wife one year, and it's just kind of our traditional thing.
That's
we do
nothing
now.
wrong with that.
And the last 2 years with the Christmas tree, I've showed up, I've made my appearance, and because I want to support everybody. And,
Yeah.
And it's like, all right,
Gotta go.
we got to go. So, but this year I get to stay for the whole thing.
Do you think you're on the naughty or nice list? I have the book.
Yeah, because you have to play Santa, don't you?
No, I do not play Santa.
Or you're the angry elf.
More of an angry elf. Santa thing got close with the Lions Club. I was desperate for money to go to North Carolina for presents, and I agreed to do it. And then 10 seconds later, I'm texting their person I know going, I can't do this. I can't go ho, ho, ho. And there's no way I'll cry through that whole thing if some little guy gets on my lap.
Peas on your shoulder.
Well, I don't care about peeing. I pee myself. What's the difference, right? It's life. But no, I'm not the same.
I'd like to think I'm on I try to do things and make the decisions that would put me on the nice list.
Okay, because I have coal in my pocket on Saturday, so just be careful.
Okay.
Just staying. All right, kids, have a great holiday, and we'll see you after the year.
Thank you, Joe.
All right, bye.